out. Shot comes in and it has found the back off the net. The first thing is the ball to Darcy! Goal! It's a fairy tale. Brilliant field by McGowan. Gets the shot away in the back of the net.
This is what people across the world have been crying out for.
Well, welcome to Healy Park in Omagh for the LCC Group Tyrone Intermediate Football Championship final between Galbally Pearses and Pomeroy Plunketts. Earlier on this afternoon, Rock secured the junior football title with a 3-point victory over a battling Kildress side. But here we're ready for the main event of the afternoon. Galbally chasing their first ever intermediate football title, and the men from Pomeroy, well, they're oil hands when it comes to the championship, of course, as well. Winning the intermediate title in 67, 91, 2004 and 2016. And going so close, of course, a few years ago in the senior football championship as well. Well, I'm delighted to have Mark Hart with me this afternoon. Once again, we had Mark, of course, for a senior quarter-final a few weeks ago as well. And Mark, this is what it's all about. It's a glorious day. Conditions absolutely perfect. Underfoot conditions perfect as well for this one. And two teams just brimming with talent.
Absolutely, Paddy. It's a mouth-watering clash we have in store here. We had an awful couple of days weather there, but it has settled down overnight. It's absolutely perfect. There's a bounce in Omagh pitch, and two teams who know each other inside out. They're not only neighbours, but they're big footballing rivals as well. You have Galbally at top, sitting proud at top of the Division 2 table, looking very much like an up through the league route. Pomeroy sitting third there as well, and maybe had lost a few games due to county player involvement and starred games, things like that. So on paper, I know a lot of people are tipping Galbally, and they are the bookies' favourites here, but if there is a team who could get under their skin and who they know they're going to have to battle all the way with, it probably is their near neighbours, Pomeroy Plunketts, Paddy.
Well, there's no doubt that young man currently kicking the ball there, Conor Donaghy, with 118, the top scorer in the Intermediate Football Championship, could play a pivotal role this afternoon. But we are told there's a couple of changes to the Galbally lineup. That veteran 36-year-old Kieran McCrory has come in for number 2, Aidan Carberry, and number 20, Cormac Donnelly, who scored 1-2 in the championship so far, comes in to replace Mark Donnelly, who believe is a bit of an injury concern. We haven't those changes on the board for you. We've just literally got them. But John Moylan there, he's got a lot of experience to call on there, hasn't he, Mark? And you know, those names have been around the block for a few years, along with some of the younger lads who enjoyed success at under 21 level not that long ago.
Absolutely. Galbally is just brimming with confidence at the minute in terms of their football and ability. They see a new wave of talent coming through, and the two changes you name, Paddy, for example, Kieran McCrory and cornerback does not weaken the Galbally defence. In fact, it possibly strengthens it. Yep. And you also have Cormac Donnelly. Cormac Donnelly, not only an extremely intelligent player, but a dead ball specialist as well. He can drill 45s over at his ease, so that does not weaken the thing at all. And then you have the veteran Paul Rafferty to come in, who's always good to win a free or take a man on and get a score himself. So you have that on one side. On the other side then for Pomeroy, most of their main men are starting, but you have the likes of 18 there of Kieran McKenna, who's an experienced head to come in, Justy McCaffrey, who was in and around the team that won it a couple of years ago too. So you have a lovely blend of youth and experience on both sides here, and it's a hard one to call.
Absolutely. The big story, of course, of the week was Frank Burns getting cleared to play, of course, after sending off in the Owen Rose game. We felt that night perhaps it was rather harsh. We covered the game and we felt ourselves perhaps it was rather harsh, but it went through the process and ended up with the DRA yesterday. And perhaps, well, he's getting his chance this afternoon, and no doubt he has scored 1-5 in the championship so far, and he'd be delighted to try and add to that this afternoon, Mark.
Yeah, Frank's a massive player for Pomeroy, and it's really, really crucial for them that he's there. But I think as well, it might sound strange to say, but I don't think that harms Galbally in terms of, obviously he can do damage, but psychologically, if you're going into a game and you knew Frank Burns wasn't playing, I think that adds more pressure to these young Galbally players, which they could do without. They now know Pomeroy are at full strength. They now know they're going to have to go and win the thing. So in a peculiar way, I think that just lets Galbally know that here we're up again it and we've got to go for it. So there's no doubt Frank can have a big impact for Pomeroy, but I do feel that it levels the playing field, and maybe just still with the balance tipping slightly towards Galbally.
So much experience in this Pomeroy side, of course, as well. As we said, Mark, it's not that long ago they were playing in the senior championship and perhaps unlucky against Errigal.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they had a massive run, and it kind of came off the back of the intermediate success. They won the Ulster Club in 2016. I was fortunate enough to be involved with them myself that year, and they absolutely kicked on. They came into the new season full of confidence, and I suppose as an Errigal man, we were extremely nervous that night because they gave it their fill. They pushed us right to the wire, and they'll be very, very disappointed to have gone down because they would feel they have the player personnel well capable of competing in Division 1. So both these teams are in that position. Actually, both teams will feel we are a Division 1 team, and the likelihood is that one or both of them will go up this season, but it's that next year that seems to be so important. But that's out the window now, Paddy. There's silverware on offer. The Paddy Cullen Cup, I can see it gleaming over there on the far side, and one of Ryan Lahern or Sean Murphy is going to be climbing these steps to lift that. So promotion will do for another day. This is all about taking the intermediate title here today.
Yeah, Galbally, of course, well placed in terms of the league, of course, as well. Perhaps they have one hand already on promotion. And just on about the captains there, Ryan Lahern, 23 years of age, you know, a young man leading a team of such experience. It's a testament to the progress he has made over the years as well.
Absolutely. Ryan calibre was never in question, and I suppose when you do allow for the fact that the two Burnses and the two McGearys are involved in the Tyrone setup, maybe Marty Begley, Brian McGuckin and Vander Kilpatrick have said we'd probably need a captain there who's there training with Pomeroy night in, night out, and maybe the next generation coming through are the likes of your Ryan Begleys and Ryan Lahern, obviously, who's now the captain. You still have the likes of experienced players in Denver Nugent and Kieran McKenna, as I mentioned, but they're probably looking to inspire the new generation coming through, so I'm not one bit surprised to see Ryan leading Pomeroy today.
Well, you just look at the squad, look at that the number in that Galbally squad. They're a tight unit there, and John Moylan has pulled them really together, a mixture of young and old, and a new man perhaps at the helm. Was in the club, of course, he's a Cork man, but married to a local lady, of course. But he's brought that whole unit together, and the likes of Kevin Kelly and Paddy Kelly and Larry Murphy and people like that have been around the club for years, nurturing this side from under 12. It's 12, 13 years ago. I remember talking to Kevin Kelly, part of the backroom team, and Kevin talked about, we've some bunch of young lads coming through. And you think to yourself at that time, as you know, Mark, you think, well, of course, every club's got a lot of lads. They knew at that time that a special talent coming through there.
No doubt. Galbally have this production line in Galbally has been in the making now, as you say, for 10 years. There's massive work going on underage. They have an envious setup down there in terms of the quality of their pitches, the floodlights that they have, and maybe John Moylan's coming in a nice position in that he has a support network there of day in the wool Galbally men behind him, but he's maybe just that wee bit detached because he is coming in from outside the county, although he's married into it, so he can make maybe those tough decisions that maybe don't always be the easiest or go down the best if you're an inside man managing your own. So they've a lovely combination. They've blazed the trail through Division 2 this year, Paddy. They're proudly sitting top of the league and looking very strong for promotion through that door as well, but that's not their focus today. Their focus today is 1 hour of championship football to win the cup. Well,
the man with the cap there, and Kilpatrick came into the Pomeroy setup, of course, after a couple of good years with Berra as well. His influence is important today because everyone in Pomeroy looks up to him. He's from that generation that got to an All-Ireland final in '86. Was maybe in the stepping stone of the success of Tyrone in later years, of course, as well. And a lot of people say, you're back with your own club where you belong, and a man like that's inspirational.
No doubt about it, and his own son is involved in the panel and playing here today too, Paddy. But Enda Kilpatrick, I suppose, for Pomeroy was flying the flag as an inter-county player when very few else were doing it in the club. Now I suppose they've all the spoils, I suppose, with the two McGearys and the two Burnses. It's no longer that big a jump for a Pomeroy player to now play for the county. So, but I've no doubt that Enda, whenever he was a player, was inspiring this current generation to come through and to go that extra level. He's now back in his own club where he belongs, and he's no doubt about it. He's a very calming influence along the sideline. And Pomeroy, I suppose, if you are comparing and contrasting the two teams, Galbally have the momentum, Galbally have the underage development coming through, but Pomeroy have been to this level before, Paddy, and they have won this tournament and this competition on 4 occasions. Galbally have never won it, so there will be some nerves in the young Galbally players. Now, if they do get a good start, they're capable of really causing Pomeroy massive problems here, but Pomeroy won't panic. They know they've done the business before. They don't tend to lose too many finals, Pomeroy, either, Paddy, and that might play on the young Galbally minds as well, but the potential for a massive game and a brilliant game is really building up nicely for us here.
Pre-match parade, which is a nice touch on junior and intermediate final day, because perhaps on occasions these games can be just maybe forgotten about, but you just look at the crowd. The stands almost filled to capacity there today. Tyrone well filled as well on this near side where we are today. Absolutely wonderful conditions, starting to cloud over perhaps a wee bit more than it had been earlier on, and more rain perhaps on the way, but underfoot conditions absolutely superb as well, and that's very important, because with the rain that fell over the last maybe 24 hours, I think everybody was expecting conditions to be very difficult.
Absolutely, there was a question mark over the game, Paddy, but I suppose the big thing is that you have to pay tribute to the grounds people here in Omagh and Healy Park in particular. They have it absolutely immaculate. There's no breeze worth talking about. The flag, the tricolour is just flopping dead pretty much there, so it won't affect shooting. So there's no such thing as a game of two halves here. It's going to be open football. There's going to be opportunities for both sides, and the excuses are really out the window. You couldn't have asked for a better day at the start of October here than what we've got, and both teams will realise that. There's an important job for Fergal Ward in the middle of the field too, a club man of my own, that he marks his, he stamps his authority on the game but lets it flow at the same time. Fergal's an extremely sensible referee. He's an experienced linesman and umpires either side of him to help him there as well. We wish him the best luck. We wish both teams the best luck, and I think it's a mouth-watering game we're very much looking forward to.
Absolutely. We're here in association on Tyrone GATV with Todd's Leap, and of course you'll hear from our sponsors at half-time as well. Bumper crowd gathered, conditions perfect, and just a note as well, some people may have seen the match programme that Eamon McHugh was to do this particular game today, but Fergal Ward has stepped in with Eamon, saying that he perhaps had done a couple of finals and felt maybe he wanted to let someone else have a go, which is a magnificence for the man as well. Looking at the lineups there, age differences, not when you look at maybe the average age, Pomeroy slightly older, but a fine mix of youth and experience on both sides, a scattering of experienced men. Martin McCreath, the goalkeeper for Pomeroy, he's been around the block, 42 years of age, but showing no sign of wilting there, and Denver Nugent there in the back line, an experienced core there to your side at the very back, which will be vitally important against the Galbally forward unit that scored 653, 640 indeed of that, coming in just 2 games against Strabane, and of course in the second game against Ahern.
Yeah, I think that Greencastle game was Galbally's most important one, Paddy, because they blitzed.
It got them back on ground.
Absolutely,
again,
they blitzed Strabane and Ahern, and sometimes you can flag yourself up as championship contenders too early, and the next thing the pressure's on you for a young team like they have. So the Greencastle game really was a test where they had to go to the wire, and fair play to Greencastle for putting it up to them. I think that'll stand Galbally in good stead going into this final. It has maybe brought the expectation level slightly down. But you look at Pomeroy as well. I mean, Pomeroy, they had a handy win, I suppose, over Newton Stewart. But the Loch McCrory game, Paddy, where they were down to 12 men, I mean, if ever questions were asked of a team's character and their ability to grind out a draw on that occasion and win the replay, Pomeroy showed that in spades, that they have serious character in that dressing room. And then they had a battle to get over Owen Rose as well. So I think both teams...
A good Owen Rose side, of course, too. People
absolutely.
Maybe underestimated, but you do the national top scorer.
Yeah, well, I think people would have, have that opinion where if you stop Cathal McShane, you stop Owen Rose. But it's far from the case. Cathal McShane's an outstanding footballer at every level, but they have a lot of good players around him as well. So it's a bit insulting to go down that way. But the semi-finals, and it's particularly for Galbally to have won so easy the first 2 games, that semi-final victory to scrape through what was a real grounding, as you say. It was very important for them coming into this final, and I think there's no doubt probably that the 2 best teams in the division are contesting the final today, Paddy.
Well, I know we're going to have a moment's silence for the deceased members of all the clubs in the county, of course, who have passed away over the past year. That'll be followed by a Ron Navane.
Shanchira, Shanchira.
Conditions perhaps changing slightly. It's starting to cloud over a wee bit, and certainly it won't be as warm maybe as it was for the first game. And if you're only joining us, Rock secured the junior football title with a 3-point victory over neighbours Kildress. They had trailed by 4 points at one stage in the first half, and indeed just after the second half in the third quarter they found themselves 4 points down again, but Aidan McGardy's goal steered them in the right direction. And Martin Hackett and the boys are up the road celebrating now, and I would say the celebrations will go long into the night at their wonderful new facilities up there at Rock. Pomeroy are also developing facilities, and they would dearly love to have a piece of silverware on the mantelpiece when they head back up the road, of course, and open that new facility sometime early in the new year. But the side's getting ready to line out. Fergal Ward is the man in the middle, ready for the throw-in here. The customary shaking of hands and that, and Mark will keep us an eye on in terms of the positional switches and the bits and pieces that are sure to happen. You could be nearly assured of it before we even start here, that there'll be a bit of to and froing and the usual bits and pieces. And wouldn't be surprised perhaps if this game maybe doesn't live up to expectations, unfortunately, Mark, as well, because this could be a rather heavier battle, perhaps, maybe less open football. We hope we're proved wrong, but it could just head that direction.
Yeah, there'll be a serious competitive edge to the game, Paddy, there's no doubt about it, and nerves will play their role too.
Game on here at Healy Park, and immediately the ball picked up by Pomeroy, who are shooting into the Gorton Road end of the ground here at Omagh. Possession, of course, and early a good start would be key as Gavin Goodfellow lays the ball out there to Ronan Duffin, a fine young footballer emerging from the Rock side. But again, that man we talked about at the start, Kieran McCrory, making his mark there, coming out. Late replacement, the 36-year-old, but immediately winning possession, laying it there to Ronan Nugent. Nugent has a bit of space to try and get the ball into, and it has found its way to Mark Lennon. Not a great pass from Lennon, but puts his own man under a bit of pressure, but good recovery. Back to the midfielder, Enda McGardy, one of the joint captain, I suppose, of the Galbally side, and the ball will run out this near side once again. And McGardy, they're going to be steady in their build up here. Daniel Kerr, a lot expected of him this evening or this afternoon. Kerr continues his run, will lay the ball off outside to Sean Murphy. Murphy gets the shot away, looked to have picked up a bit of a knock there as he released that ball, and he's in trouble there, Mark.
Yeah, he definitely, just as he was about to strike the ball, he got challenged from the side. Fergal Ward, the referee, felt it was a fair challenge. I suppose we hope that Sean Murphy's okay here. Number one, you know, that player welfare is important, but he's also the Galbally captain here. He'd be a proud Galbally man leading his team out, and with hardly any time, you have a minute and a half on the clock, Paddy. It's definitely worrying from a Galbally point of view, and especially for Sean Murphy here. But one of the key battles that we saw there, that one between Daniel Kerr, number 11 for Galbally, and Q Pat McGeary, number 3 for Pomeroy, that has the makings of a mouthwatering clash. And Q Pat slipped that time, and Daniel was just bearing down on goals, set up that chance for Sean Murphy, but unfortunately for Galbally, the first chance slipped wide.
Well, and Murphy back up onto his feet again. I think it was maybe the initial knock, maybe shook him a wee bit. He's back up on his feet again and showing no ill effects at this stage, at least as Pomeroy come forward down this near side. The man who perhaps wasn't to play a part, but well, we always felt he was going to be involved at some stage. Frank Burns lays it back to Woods. This is progression from the men in those familiar amber and black jerseys. The ball back, it comes again to Ronan McNamee. Back again, out it comes the whole way to Ryan Bagley. They're not just able to break down this Galbally defence just yet. Burns out the far side. He's got a couple of men over them for Nugent's made a great run through the outside there. Nugent punched the ball over the bar. And it's not bad when you have a man of 36 years of age at the corner back coming forward and knocking that one over the bar. Obviously not playing at corner forward, playing a more advanced role, but the number 2 in his back. He loves going forward, and a fine opening score. Yeah,
Denver number 2, but he has played a lot of his football at wing half back, Paddy, and he loves bombing forward. And I'd say you'd have got decent odds now on the first scorer of the intermediate final being Denver Nugent, but he'd not mind me saying that. That was a very sensible decision to fist the ball over the bar.
Yeah, lovely take in the middle of the park by Burns as well. His influence could play a massive part this afternoon here at Omagh. Duffin steadies himself and looks to see his other options on and cuts back inside again, and the ball now with Aidan Woods. which scored a crucial point against Loughmacrory to save his side in the championship. Lays the ball forward into the path there of the midfielder, and that ball has went over the bar, courtesy of the captain there, Ryan Lougharn.
Yeah, inspirational.
2 points.
Great score there from Ryan, and again a very direct, I suppose, run with pace by Aidan Woods. He laid it off at the right time, and Ryan has that in his locker, Paddy. He can take scores from 35 metres at his ease.
Yeah, and it's, as you said, Mark, earlier on, it's probably one of the reasons why he is the captain of the side. There's a man down, looks to be in trouble, and it looks to be the influential Ronan Nugent there has picked up some sort of knock. I think he might have rolled his ankle. I think nothing more than that, but we'll wait to see what develops in that as the play moves through the halfway line. It's pacey, or slow rather, going forward there. Mulgrew out that far side will take the return pass. Seamus Og Mulgrew looks back to see is there options on, and then it's forward to Conor Donnelly. Donnelly number 3 in his back, but away out on that far side in the wide open spaces of Omagh. Mulgrew again lays it back, but it's a wee bit of a witty pass there, and a lot of work to do on that far side for Donnelly. He's well hemmed in there. There's a lot of amber and black jerseys to try and get past. It's laboured as Mark Lennon picks it up and then releases Conor Quinn. Quinn steadies himself, gets the ball inside, but mopping up the danger there once again. These Pomeroy men so good with game management. And they're on the break here once again. The ball picked up by Gavin Goodfellow. Goodfellow lays it back. Aidan Woods steadies himself. He's knocked in the back as he releases the shot though, but the ball has went wide. And Ray McGuckin and Andy Kilpatrick here on the sideline.
Marty Bagley
there too, of course, yeah.
They'll be delighted, Paddy, with this start. Pomeroy, really, I suppose a lot of the talk has been about Galbally, and I think Galbally have started fairly nervously here. 5 minutes on the clock, and they'll be just looking for a wee settler, any sort of a free, just something simple to get them up and going, because Pomeroy have come out and they've really went for this game, and they've got a couple of early scores. And
Mulgrew has been a lot on the ball, and there's Burns back again, deep inside his own half there, mopping up any loose ball, playing that sweeping role that he's been so effective doing during the championship this year. They pick up a couple of cards during the campaign, of course, as well. Didn't stand him when he got that red in the semi-final, but things reversed as Pomeroy go on the offensive again, threading the pass out this near side. Still a bit of work to do in the corner by Oliver McCreesh, their top scorer with a goal and 13 points. He'd like to get a score on the board early on too. Goodfellow, who's been very, very busy so far. Again, the ball moved laterally across the pitch, and Denver Nugent again striding forward, 45 metres out, and wants to return pass. Looked to have touched it there, but mobbing up the loose ball into McGardy. McGardy, not a great ball from McGardy, but the benefit of the doubt goes with the man attacking the ball, and it's going to be a free out for Galbally. A chance for them to relieve a wee bit of pressure, because despite the fact that it's early stages yet, they do look a wee bit unsteady with themselves, and as you said, passes they got are not going to help them, as is picked up once again by that man Burns.
Yeah, Frank has played that role for Tyrone over the last couple of years at times as well, Paddy, just sweeping in front of that full back line, and what a diagonal ball to Gavin Goodfellow.
Super pass to Goodfellow, and he goes to ground, and a chance here for Ollie McCreesh to pop this one over the bar. He's already the gloves off, he's ready getting himself geared up for this one, but it's Pomeroy be happy over the start. They're 2 points to the good up, but they've been more assured in what they're doing as well, and they've settled.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can see the Mayor Fernier from Galbally out here trying to raise them and trying to get something moving here, because a lot of their players are walking, a lot of their players just haven't got up to the speed, whether that's nerves for young players or whether it's just that they're trying to get a touch and it hasn't happened for them yet. But the 2 or 3 attacks they've had, Paddy, they've played diagonal balls in. Frank Burns has read both of them, and that set up this score for Ollie McCreesh. Yeah,
you'd put your house on Ollie McCreesh, the form he's been in this year, and they're 3 points up, and certainly happy with that, and that's the first point from a free, and we've played almost 8 minutes. The scoreboard will tell you it's Pomeroy 3, Galbally still the score here, and a bit of pressure put on Mark Lennon down this near side, but he releases the pass, and now Galway will try and get things moving, but they just can't hold on to the ball at the moment. Liam Rafferty, such a wonderful young footballer, made his mark with Tyrone this year, of course, as well. Again, they're patient in the build-up. They're not rocking and rolling, I suppose, at this early stage. Now they have an opportunity here as Daniel Kerr picks it up. He's got a goal late in the championship, continues his run. He's got a couple of options. The ball will come across the face of the goal. The referee, has he stopped the play? No. He continues on, and the goalkeeper does well. There looked to be a man. There is a man down in that far side. There was a hesitation from everybody there for the split second, and perhaps that maybe rocked him a wee bit, because the number 20, Cormac Donnelly, had made a great run inside and screaming for the ball.
Yeah,
the delivery perhaps wasn't the best.
And the more worrying thing, I think, than the chance going astray there is that it's actually Daniel Kerr, I think, who's down injured here. In the first few minutes of this game, he has taken on Q-Pat McGeary a couple of times, and he showed electric pace coming in along at the end line. He wasn't just happy to tap it over that time, Paddy. He spotted Cormac Donnelly at the back post. I think Cormac maybe thought he had more time than what he actually had.
Yeah, it seemed to be something there, yeah.
Yeah, he would delay it, and I think if he'd caught it and pulled the trigger, or even trying to palm it in, maybe he was a wee bit far out for that, but there was a definite scoring opportunity there. They tried to work a goal which would have put the teams on level pegging, I suppose, but Galbally just need any score here at the minute, because again another attack has come. It hasn't resulted in anything, and you're almost 10 minutes on the clock here. So
Martin McCree seems to be in a bit of bother there. Michaela McGuigan there with him, the physio, of course, former member of the Tyrone Ladies senior set up there, and well, Martin seems to be in some discomfort, and they are warming up their second choice keeper there, Anthony McKenna, on the far side. So this is worrying. Perhaps the veteran could be in trouble here. Brian McGuckin over there having a check with him as well. But well, Frank Burns overseeing proceedings too.
Yeah,
good crowd gathered, and well, an element of concern here, because yeah, they are going to have to make that change by the looks of things. Mark.
Yeah, and Anthony McKenna coming in actually is a very experienced player. He's been the backup there to John McCourt. He's now the backup to Martin McCree. So he has been thereabouts in terms of playing for Pomeroy over the last number of years. He's a sensible head, and it's very, very unfortunate now for Martin McCree that it looks like his county final is cut short after only 10 minutes here.
He seemed to fall awkwardly more than anything else, Mark.
Yeah, well, he was coming out with the ball, and I think there was a challenge that came in, and it's just hard to tell from this far away, I suppose, what the nature of the injury is. We just all hope that it's nothing too serious, I suppose, but the signs on the sideline with Anthony McKenna warming up and really going through a bit of a rigorous warm-up there would be that unfortunately Martin McCree's 2019 intermediate final is coming to a premature end here.
Looks to be a thigh injury, probably more a dead leg than anything else, but maybe he's going to think of going on here, is he? Because well,
they're doing the right thing in that they're giving him every opportunity, and Fergal Ward's a very calm referee, and Fergal's not putting him under any pressure here to get up. But it's a shame that it is going to end up in probably him going off here. But again,
I think he is going off, and seems that looked to be a lot of activity on the bench there now.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very disappointing now from Martin's point of view that he's just not able to shake this injury off. But I think in terms of the game, actually, it'll do Galbally no harm just to have a wee pause here at the minute, because the opening 11 minutes, the momentum has really been with Pomeroy, and they've gone for Galbally's throats in terms of their attacks. They've had a couple of very good counter-attacks there. Frank Burns is cleaning up as a sweeper. And
that's sad to see.
It really is, yeah. It's very disappointing, especially for somebody coming at any stage getting injured this early, but for somebody at 42 years of age to step up and take the number 1 jersey again, and the dream day, I suppose, in the county final, to have it last only 10 minutes is very unfortunate, and we wish him well, but we also wish Anthony McKenna well as he comes in. I'm sure he'll be nervous. He probably wasn't expecting to be used at all today, so he has got to get his head into the game pretty early here too, that he needs to use his kickouts well, he needs to use possession well, and I think Frank will give him an early touch just to get used to possession here. I
think as well, Mark, nowadays I suppose that every player's so much involved in all their game plans and everything, and they really know they can just fit in there, so maybe not as difficult as it would have been maybe years ago for a goalkeeper to come in that maybe hasn't kicked the ball all year.
Yeah, that's it, and Anthony's a calm head. He's been about the squad for a good number of years now, and I don't think he'll be overawed by the occasion.
Well, Woods misplaced his diagonal pass there on this occasion, and mopping up that loose ball is Rafferty. And there they score here on the board now after the new goalkeeper in perhaps would be key. But again, Burns there mopping up everything that comes his way. He hasn't missed a ball so far as Kim has direction, and he looks so cool onto the ball there.
Galbaly's probably going to have to change tactics a bit here, Paddy, and run the ball through that middle part of the field and maybe draw Frank out, because he's too intelligent a player for that. They're kicking diagonal balls in towards the D, and he's cut out 3 now in a row.
Brenton Burns, nice interchange play with him and Gavin Goodfellow. He takes the return pass and flashes that shot in, and flashes that shot over the bar, and an excellent point there from Burns. And they're really started off very well here, and they show no signs of wilting even after just 13 and a bit minutes.
Yeah, they'd be delighted, and on a personal note, I suppose, to see Brandon Burns back out. I know he went through the horrible cruciate that a number of players have suffered, I suppose, but he just kept the head down. He worked his way back. He's normally a tight mark and corner back, but Pomeroy maybe are seeing that there's an opportunity to play him further out the field, and he showed just there now with the outside of the boot. He's more than capable of taking a score, and they've opened up a nice 4-point lead here, Paddy.
Yeah, that's and great, as you said there, Brandon back in action again. The pass wasn't great there through the middle, and it was easily intercepted again. And Pomeroy are so assured of themselves there with the ball. They're so comfortable at this early stage, and taking away the loose pass there, Hugh Pat McGeary. Early touch for him as well. Wriggles away from the defender following him out, or the man trying to close him down, and it's not really working at this stage. And here McGeary goes in the offensive end again with the ball in hand and toe and driving forward, looking up to see his options on. Thought about the shot, laid it back to his captain Lougharn, and on this occasion Lougharn's effort has curled wide.
Yeah, disappointing from Ryan there, actually, because
he done everything right.
He did, absolutely. I thought he was going to pull the trigger a wee bit far out, but he bounced, he settled himself, and it was probably an easier opportunity than the one he put over a number of minutes ago there, Paddy. So, you know, that would have extended the lead out to 5. And Galbally are a wee bit nervous looking here at the minute. They haven't got on the board at all. They're playing the occasion possibly more than the match at the minute, Paddy.
Which was a worry that they had.
Absolutely, and it was that occasion, it was that pressure of everybody talking about them. But I think if they do get a score or two here, they will settle down, and they have a seriously potent attack. So they just need 1 or 2 scores to get them going. This man here, Daniel Kerr, he's more than capable of doing something like that.
Well, Kerr, nice bit of play there between him and Murphy, and a couple of men off his shoulder. Ronan Nugent now gets a shot away. Ronan Nugent effort. The umpires have a look, and the umpires raise the flag, and the first score for Galbally is down to their centre half back, Ronan Nugent. That's his 1-5 he has scored in the championship to date, and they'll be delighted to get that score, a settling score we often talk about, and they'll be so glad to get that one. Ronan Nugent on target with that one from distance. Now can they want a bit of possession around the middle of the park as well. This is better from him. The ball inside to Declan Murphy. Declan Murphy's a man of his shoulder, McCarty. Murphy goes from distance, and another score within quick succession. And as John Moylan indicates there on the sideline, that's what he wants to see from his side, because that's what they're so good at doing.
Yeah, that's a massive switch there now. What should have been a simple score from Ryan Lougharn there a minute ago, Paddy,